Welcome to the Shoot It Straight podcast.
Welcome to the show.
We're very green. It's funny just looking at your face green.
I know when I edit these, I see lots of green. So, but I love it's my favorite color, and
I think I'm really growing. I've realized that green is growing on me. I mean, I've loved black, and it will forever be my favorite color. But I'm like, oh, I looked at my wardrobe. I'm like, I buy dark green. Our car is dark green. I'm like, I really like dark green a lot.
Yeah,
I like green. Different hues of green.
I love green, but I don't know if I have any clothing that is green.
I have some clothes that are green, and a lot of times I like the green and black combo.
Yeah, I think I'm wearing more black now than I ever have before.
Yeah, I mean, black is good and classic, and everything about black is great. But for those that are just listening, we have a lift heavy swing fast neon sign behind us. It's been raining all day, so it's dark outside, and so our lighting is just very hued green in here.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much we actually rely on the natural light. And we've always done our podcast at a certain time of day to get great light, and then without it, it's way different here. But I think it looks good.
It's fine. We just talked about that not too long ago about how kind of like we're pretty minimalist here. We still got our little mirror behind our camera phone so that we can see that we're recording appropriately and it's not getting interrupted.
Yeah.
And we don't have a ton of crazy lighting in here. It's just we don't do a lot here, and it's funny. Shout out to our listener who commented on my hair. She's a hairdresser and a friend of my mom's, and she did my hair growing up, and she probably knows this or maybe remembers this about my hair, but my hair is fine and it's really greasy. And she commented on my greasy hair vibes.
So did you do a little blowout today? It looks a little.
I don't blow dry my hair. I mean, Kathy, you're gonna cringe at all of this. But I just don't think she's that surprised. She also should know though that this is my natural hair. For a while, I was doing extensions, and I think she would be shocked to know how little hair I had growing up and how healthy it is. And so, Kathy, shout out to you, because in my older age, I've taken care of myself a little bit better, eaten a shit ton of protein, gotten good sleep, eating enough for my body, and I feel like it's really helped my hair health big time.
What about my hair health? It's starting to lack.
You go back and forth, but I feel like for a while you were thinking you were getting worse. But I mean, I've known you now for going on 6 years, and your hair hasn't gotten less.
Yeah, I think it stopped because when I used to drink all the time, I was losing my hair pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
And now it's stalled for the last 5-6 years.
Totally. So I think that
but
your
I still
hair
prefer
is
wearing
fine.
hats.
I know. I mean, you look good in hats too, which is good.
Even though I go get nice haircuts and pay, a good barber, she does a great job, but I'm just like, I still got to put the hat on.
Your hair is not, it's not an offensive hairline at all. But I know that that's something that I get it, because I was self-conscious about my hair for a really long time too, but now I'm not.
It's mainly in our, when I record content and videos, and when I was working with Trent the other day, I realized that I'd done way more videos than I anticipated without a hat on. And I told him, I was like, oh my God, especially because some of them are on the
put a fro in there on when you edit it.
Can you edit this and add some, put some in there, Photoshop it, and I'll end up on Goob's page, for Photoshopping my hair. But, yeah, we were doing a lot of stuff on the TRX. So I was on the ground, and he was getting an angle that probably shows the top of my head. So I'm going to be mortified, but I'm still going to use it because I work hard on that content.
I can't stress enough that we only look at the things that I don't ever think about, I'm not looking at the top of your head in a movie. I just don't think about, I'm not looking at that.
But it's all I can see. I
know. I get it. And maybe that's a good kind of segue into our topic today, kind of.
Sure.
I mean, listen, this is a great one. I mean, we've been talking about this, and we recently put a blog up about this topic, and it's kind of the whole, training for looks versus training for performance, and our sort of take on why we think training for performance and training like an athlete is the way to go.
Right.
And there's a lot of reasons why.
Yeah.
And again, I think sometimes we can be so focused on our appearance, and there's certain things truly that are out of our control. Sure, our weight is in our control in some capacity, maybe more so than our hairline.
Might be related somewhere, but who knows?
But there's so much more than our body and what it looks like that goes into this equation, and the reasons why we feel like training for performance is an overall like beyond, like not even comparable option.
Yeah.
So,
and well, I think where I'm coming from with this is also just realizing what is going to be the best for your overall life, right? I mean, we did a poll on my Instagram, and I came to find out quickly that not as many of you all that listen or follow my page or listen to me or, you know, even do our programming are golfers. And I was a little blown away. And I mean, we have a decent amount of followers, and I think almost 1,000 people did the poll on my story. And it was like 59% said that they do not play golf or do any other.
That wasn't their primary.
Or, yeah, it wasn't
goal.
their primary thing. Like, so like, yeah, it wasn't their primary thing, but, yeah. And then like training for health and longevity was like their number one goal. So I was like, okay, wow. So that means we're drawing people in that see this type of training that is not probably what most people think when they go to the gym, which is bicep curls and bodybuilding type splits. It's more of this athletic training. And I'm really happy that there's so many people that are into that, even though their sport specific training is not their number one goal.
Yes. And I think that there's the bodybuilding camp, and then there's like still the cardio bunnies. Like there's the two kind of extremes that are not balanced. And then like in the middle somewhere, I'm not even going to say that bodybuilding plus cardio training equals performance, because it doesn't. But what we're getting at is it's a performance-based program is going to be way more well-rounded bang for your buck. And that is the whole like sort of longevity piece too, of like, yeah, you can do a little bit of bodybuilding, you can do a little bit of endurance training or cardio, but like at the end of the day, for you in the long term and for health and for good mobility and for strength and to have cardio health and a healthy heart, training for performance is key.
Right.
So I want to kind of take it. I mean, I'll go first in terms of just sort of my take and my experience with this. And then of course, I think like what you alluded to in the blog is fantastic too, but I'll go first and then we'll kind of get into more of like the specifics around how training for performance is beneficial. But I think like one thing that people need to remember with body composition, again, is that goes back to like there's only so much that we can control, and body composition changes take a long, long time. And so when we're thinking about creating something that we're wanting to do for overall better body composition, but that will also stick with a performance type program like our Lift Heavy Swing Fast, where you're doing strength, you're doing mobility work, you're cycling and doing different phases appropriately and all the things. Being able to track your progress over time and see your gains and see your performance improve and your mobility get better and have less pain and all of the things that go along with that, I think is like one of the biggest things that keeps you in a program way longer and keeps you motivated. Everyone's obsessed with the word motivated, which we know kind of waxes and wanes, whatever, but it does wane. And if you're only doing one thing and it's the same fucking thing all the time, you're going to get bored with it, and you're not going to see your results that you want in your body quick enough, so people drop out. Mm-hmm. But if you're starting to follow a performance program and you're seeing your mobility improve, or you're able to start to run a little bit, half a mile an hour faster on the treadmill every other week, and you can squat heavier after 4 weeks, these are the things that like, oh, I'm like, my body is like literally getting better. You know, we hear all the time people that are in their 40s and 50s that they're more athletic than they were, or in better shape, I should say, than they were in their 20s and 30s, maybe when they were drinking and treating their body like shit. Mm-hmm. And we get to this place where if you're following a really good program, you're able to like check off a million different other boxes outside of what your body looks like that are showing points of performance improving.
Right.
And whatever that may be.
Right.
And I just think that that's like the biggest thing here. It's like, you know, bodybuilding, or, you know, if you're focused on like only doing Pilates because you're like obsessed with just like, I only want to be like long and lean and long and lean. It's like, well, you're only doing like these certain movements that aren't really going to be varied that much, that are hard to, after about 4 to 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks, like that's where people are like, I'm plateauing or I'm stalling. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're like doing this one-dimensional thing, and you're
Mhm.
not focusing on different parts of your athleticism, so to speak, and not giving your body the opportunity to improve in like different parts of wherever you need to get a little bit better at.
Right.
So that's sort of like my take on it, as far as like having coached so many people, and the people that do it for a couple years and actually work with me for that amount of time, they're doing the right thing by being okay with, hey, this is a lifestyle choice that I'm choosing to like really shift how I view my training and how I'm like putting all of this time and effort into the gym, and I want to have the biggest bang for my buck and not just start again, stop again, because I just keep getting bored and I'm obsessed only with the scale or only with how my body looks. And so I'm going to just quit every
Right.
time.
Yeah. And from my experience, like that's what happens is when I was a personal trainer at a big box gym, I would meet, and I was a fitness manager. So my job was to actually meet people when they joined the gym and talk to them about their goals. And the goal they would always say, because it's kind of the default goal, right, is body composition. I want to build muscle, or I want to lose weight or something like that, because I think to the general population, that's kind of like what they view fitness as, right? Like I'm gonna look better. Like if you're not super into it, maybe not educated on the subject, like that's what you see on the ads and magazines and on TV is just these fit people. So they come to you and say, hey, I want to look like that. But once you kind of pull back everything and get them into a performance-based program like I did, like because body composition is so challenging, it has to do with nutrition. It takes forever. So like these people aren't going to stay your clients, probably see that through for most likely. So you start them on a performance-based program where they're stronger, they feel better, and they get all these results that way. And then they usually don't care as much about the physique part of it, right? Like, I mean, I just remember I had a guy who was in his mid 60s. His goal was to lose weight and build muscle because he just wanted to. I think that's just what he defaulted as, like that's what he needed, right? But we got him nice and strong and all this kind of stuff. And then he came to me one day and he was like, "Hey man, over the weekend I did something I never thought I'd be able to do again. I worked in my yard all weekend long. I even built a fence. I did all of this stuff because I'm so much stronger." And his face was lit up when he said that. Now, did he also be like, but I still got this going on, like, grabbing his stomach or something like that? He didn't give a shit about that anymore. It was the performance that he got out of it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's what people need to realize, that that's probably what you really want.
Yes.
And that's what you definitely need.
Yes. And we also have to remove, this is the other half of that. I think that's so great. Like, that's so important and so great. And like, maybe he changed his diet and his lifestyle outside of that. We've talked about how like the benefits of training and starting to feel better is like usually it ricochets into other parts of your life kind of just naturally. You go to sleep earlier, you're sleeping better, you take care of your body better, maybe you do start cleaning up your diet. But really, like without much effort and just focusing on his training, those things like naturally happen, instead of the opposite where it's like, well, I need to overhaul my diet and I need to track everything and also do 45 days of training a week. Like, all these impossible like benchmarks that people think they need to hit. But the other thing that like you touched on is like also washboard abs or whatever, and like the bodybuilding physique is not the picture of health. And
Mm-hmm.
we really have that ingrained in our head that that's what health is. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because the people that have sub 10% body fat that are doing this type of crazy bodybuilding plans and food plans and all of the things, they're not the healthiest human beings. Like their body fat percentages are very low. That's not a normal healthy place to be for a lot of different reasons. Hormone levels. I mean, anybody that's dieted for a period of time knows you get cranky, your sleep is fucked up. Like these are things that are meant to be like temporary, but not forever. And we're not supposed to be shredded like year round. And so health for a lot of people, and especially women, because we err on the side of like we hold more body fat, like we need to be having like healthy cycles and healthy hormones, and those things truly do matter a lot. Hair and things like that falling out, skin health, like our body composition is one component of that, and we certainly don't want to be walking around 30% plus body fat, which a lot of people in America do. Mm-hmm. But it's okay to have a love handle or a little bit of a belly or like flabby arms or whatever people want to like define as like, because like at the end of the day, look at like linebackers that are 300 pounds but also can sprint down the football field in 4 seconds or whatever. Like I don't know all that their metrics, but it's like Health isn't exactly a certain specific body type. Like it's truly, truly not.
Right.
Being very well rounded, being able to eat flexibly and not have to restrict, being able to enjoy your life, being able to sneak in eating out on a cheeseburger every once in a while and not put on 10 pounds like that because your metabolism is so slow and fucked up because all you do is diet. Like these are benchmarks to health that are very important. And unfortunately, yeah, our medical system too, like a lot of people maybe that do come to trainers, my doctor told me I need to lose 20 pounds. And like, again, that may be true. Like we know there's plenty of people walking around out there that need to lose some weight.
Right.
But what's starting to really change the narrative is hearing more and more people talking about being like under muscled and not having enough muscle mass. It's not necessarily about just weight. If we put on 20 pounds of muscle, no matter what size we are, our body fat percentage will decrease. That's how the math works, right? So, and by doing that and putting on muscle and getting stronger and feeling better, again, like the body fat thing will be a byproduct of that. Well, our metabolism will get better. Like we will look leaner. Even if the scale is going up a little bit, like at first, which that happens to some people, especially you pull the people that are used to, I get 20,000 steps a day because I play golf and then I run 10 miles and then I get on the stair climber and it's like you have some of those types of people and it's like they can't lose anything because like their body is like, what the fuck? I'm conserving all of the energy right now because that's all I need to do. Mm-hmm. And so you put those people on like that strength training plan and tell them to slowly back off some of their endurance training, whatever, their cardio. And they are afraid when they see the scale go up, but it's like your body needs to do that for right now. Like it needs to get stronger. It wants to put on some mass. Like let's tell it to build muscle so that you can increase and improve your metabolism and have a better overall body composition and all of the good stuff that comes along. Excuse me, with that. Because sustainability, I think, is it's the key. It is the key. Mm-hmm. Can you be doing what you're doing right now for the long haul? And I think a lot of people that are either way overtraining or doing too much of one specific thing, like it's just not sustainable. And that's why you get frustrated and quit because your body stops responding to it. And then you're just in the cycle over and over and over again.
Right.
So.
Awesome.
Well, Cody's like, I have zero other things to add.
I think you cleared that all up for us.
Well, yeah, I think like the final thing that maybe you can touch on though is just like we talked about it a little bit, but it's like, guys, if we're training for performance, you can set so many specific goals for yourself on being more flexible and having less pain and whatever that it is. Like if you're staying in one lane and doing one type of training, you're not going to give your body that ability to do that.
And I think, so to the point of we want people to train for their needs, right? So we got to think more about what are your needs on an everyday basis.
Yes.
Maybe you do play a sport periodically, but let's just say you don't for the sake of this example. Let's talk about what you need for everyday life. We'll use a parent because they're like an easier example for this. Picking up your kids, playing with them, running around the backyard. Maybe your kid's going to get into baseball or softball. You need to be able to throw a ball around with them, hit. Maybe you want to teach them how to do that stuff. Putting on your jacket when it gets cold, reaching in the back seat of your car, fixing something that's like our roof that I had, or our ceiling that I had to work on the other day. That's a pain in the ass. I had to sit there and stare up at the ceiling and like saw and put like spackle up on the roof. That took some mobility. So let's just think about these things that are going to come up in your life, right? And we can actually, let's just say I'm not going to give you a workout program to fix your ceiling, but if we kind of do all this stuff where we have adequate mobility, good range of motion, if we want to play with our kids in the backyard and like teach them how to, kick a soccer ball or run or something like that, it's going to be nice if we know if we're still doing that stuff later on in our life. There was a statistic that said people after the age of 30, like 90% of people will never sprint again. Maybe you'll run, maybe you'll jog or something like that, but you will never full speed sprint again. And that does so much for your body. That's a skill to have. God forbid you ever actually need it. Like you need to sprint away from a bear or save someone in a, that's running out in front of a bus. I'm just throwing out all these crazy examples, by the way, just for fun. But Like, you may need some of these things, and it would be really nice to have done them in the gym recently, so that way you can do them.
Yes.
Right? So let's think about what a typical, and I'll just keep picking on bodybuilding because it's the easiest, is because people know about it. Does arm day help you do all this kind of stuff? No. It would be a total body day with adequate mobility training, speed, explosiveness, strength, and some conditioning that's going to help you do all these things in your everyday life that you want to be able to do, hopefully forever until the day you die. And also, when it comes to training like an athlete or doing any kind of training like this, it's total body every session. Whereas like other workout programs may be totally bodybuilder splits where it's chest day, back day, arm day, leg day. Some bodybuilding programs like to do upper body, lower body. And let's just keep using the everyday parent as the example. Like, what happens if you only get in one workout that week? And it's, so you got in your chest day that week, and then another week, and then a week goes by, and it's like, now what are you going to do? You're going to do back day, and then, oh
nope.
crap.
Always be skipping leg day.
Yeah, and then some shit comes up again, and you only get one workout that week, or maybe you get two, and you only got back day and arm day in that week, or something like that. Wouldn't it be so much more effective and efficient for you to do a total body workout every time, so that way you're hitting everything, and if something does come up because you're a normal human being and you don't live in the gym like a real, you know, bodybuilder or something like that, you still got everything you needed in that one workout. It'd be better if you got a couple more of them in every week, you know, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. But let's live in the real world. That may not happen. So if you train like an athlete, and I remember Elevate was the first place that called everyone an athlete, regardless of what you did. Like, our members at Elevate were athletes. You didn't call them anything else, right? So no matter if you play a sport or not, you can train like an athlete and be an athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. I think that's a good, important takeaway, and I think that's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as I always say, someone is listening and got something good out of this.
I hope so.
But yeah, y'all out there training, I mean, listen, the gym should be more than bodybuilding and how we look, really. And for some people that is, but I think that's a really small percentage of people that really like need to train that way. The majority of us do not. And we can still have really healthy bodies that we feel good about and we're confident in. And to your point, like, I want to be prepared to like be a bad bitch and be able to defend myself or do whatever it is. Like, if you're in a serious situation, who are you going to call on? The person that's not very fit and can't do that many functional things, but can maybe do a good heavy bicep curl, or like someone who's pretty well rounded and can do all the things, bend over backwards, you know, do a pull up, be able to, you know, all the things like that, like survival and things like that.
And not to pick on bodybuilders, because we know someone like Dr. Jeff, and I follow Joey Swole. That guy can do, like, I think Jeff could probably do the splits. I've seen Joey Swole dunk a basketball and do a backflip, but these guys were like elite athletes too. But for the normal person, train more like an athlete instead of like a bodybuilder, because you're probably not as gifted as some of these people you're going to see online that can still do all these crazy things. You can train a little more effective for you.
No, I think that's a really good point. I saw a message about this the other day. I believe the girl on Instagram, this was not the other day, this was a few months ago. I think she's a PT. And she happened to pop up, and her message was basically like, I think you should learn how to work with free weights first before you use machines. And it's like, yes, because oftentimes you're relying on, and again, there's nuance. People can come after us for this, whatever. But like, I experienced this when I did my bodybuilding for a few weeks, where you kind of lose connection with the rest of your body when you're isolating muscle groups constantly. If you learn how to pull yourself up on a pull-up bar, if you learn how to squat a barbell, even if it's not sexy at first and it doesn't look the best, oh my God, the way that you can train your body to work together in unison and have a strong core, like, beyond way more important. And then you can like probably explore, you have to earn your way almost into like doing bodybuilding type work once because you're like, cool, well, I'm mobile and I'm strong and I'm well-rounded. Now I can like go and like, I really know where I'm supposed to feel certain muscle groups when I'm doing certain exercises. Like, I've earned my right to like be able to train this way. Seriously. Yeah. But I do think that you need to start out training for performance, full stop. Yeah. Like 99.999% of people should absolutely do that. So with that, everybody have a good rest of your, I guess, day, week, February, Valentine's Day, whenever this is going to air. Cody's the new took over producing, so he's going to be managing the calendar. But there's also some guests and things like that coming down the pike, so be on the lookout for that. We've been looking forward to doing more of that in 2024 as we approach our full year of podcasting. I think episode 52 will be fast approaching, which would be literally like a year of episodes weekly.
We'll have to do something really fun for that.
We'll do something fun for that for sure. Maybe like a giveaway or a live or something. We'll have to think about it in March.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
Cody Wescott Golf.
We'll do the Alex Hormozy where he had like 500,000 people live join in on his.
He got like 180,000. He said actually is who ended up. I think like 500,000 did register. I know, right? But it'd be cool if we had like a group of 50 people live. That would be badass.
Badass. We'll see.
But we appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your week, day, month, whatever. But we'll see you next week. And CodyWescottGolf.com/links for all of our info, programs, free downloads. Like we've got all of our information there. So hit us up and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.